Tube Ubers, what's happening? Big Felon checking in. Y'all know the channel. Felon with Firearms. And if you haven't already, please comment, like, and share this information. Share this platform with somebody in need, man. And we gonna try to get every single felon in the United States of America their gun rights back. But that's only if they can prove that they have been rehabilitated. It's not going to happen just because you do it. You got to prove rehabilitation. But Louisiana, let's get into it, man. The boot. Shouts out to that dude, Black Rambo, man. He the reason I'm pushing this video for y'all right now anyway. Because I had a lot of other states in front of y'all. But, man, Rambo been sending love my way. So I got to get this out there for y'all. So let's talk about Louisiana. Louisiana. Restrictions on possessing firearms or carrying concealed weapon applies to any person convicted of a crime of violence, felony weapon or drug offense or sex offense. And what does it say? And it terminates 10 years after completion of sentence, so long as no other felony conviction occurs during that period. So what that just said is, after your final disposition or your probation and things like that, after 10 years, this restriction terminates itself. It says a governor's pardon will restore your rights prior to the 10 years, but a first offender pardon will not. So 10 years after your full conviction, your completion of your probation, parole, fines and restitution, etc., incarceration time, 10 years after you have done with all of that, this gun rights restriction automatically terminates itself. Or if you want to pardon before the 10 years up, if you want to pardon, it can be done before the 10 years is over. But make sure that it's not a first offender pardon, because it will not relieve the restriction of your firearms. Federal government takes the position based on holding concealed carry permits. In addition, persons who have been convicted of or pled guilty or non-contended to a crime of violence or any crime punishable by the term of a year or more may not obtain a concealed carry permit. A conviction, plea of guilt, or plea of conviction of a plea to a misdemeanor crime of violence, as defined by RS 14-2, will result in loss of concealed carry privileges for 5 years after completion of sentence. So if you're convicted of a misdemeanor that's defined in section 14-2, you lose your rights to your concealed carry permit for 5 years after completion of your sentence, unless the conviction was set aside or dismissed. So here we go. Here goes something else. Persons convicted of a federal counterfeiting or forgery charge may obtain such a permit 15 years after completion of sentence. However, a person who has been convicted of a violation under 18 U.S.C. 491 shall be permitted to qualify for a concealed handgun permit if 15 or more years has elapsed between the date of the application and the successful completion of service of any sentence, deferred adjudication, or period of probation or parole. So it appears that they have some leniency to some federal offenses, not all, just some. It's under that code. All right, let's see the pardon policies and practices and the authority. The governor constitutional power to pardon depends upon favorable recommendation of the Board of Pardons. So here it is to state that the governor is the one who, hold on, water break, fellas. All right, so the governor is the one who ultimately has the power, but his executive decision is based on the favorable recommendation from the Board of Pardons. So the Board of Pardons have to give their 2 cents to the governor in order for him to push this pardon in action for you. So upon favorable recommendation from the Board of Pardons, the governor may commute sentence and pardon those convicted of offenses against the state and remit fines and forfeitures imposed of such offense. Notwithstanding any provisions of law to the contrary, the governor shall not grant any pardon. Listen, the governor shall not grant any pardon to any person unless that person has paid all of the court costs which were imposed in connection with the conviction of the crime for which the pardon is to be issued. I'm gonna highlight that for y'all. Y'all make sure y'all pay attention to this. Make sure y'all fully understand this here. I'm gonna reread it. The governor shall not grant any pardon to any person unless that person has paid all of the costs from courts which were imposed in connection with the conviction of the crime for which the pardon is to be issued. So, if you got a distribution of a Schedule 1 or 2, your time has passed, and you owe fines and restitution, you owe $1,500. I don't care how much, if you've been out of jail for 15 years, if you have not paid the courts their $1,500, do not apply for this pardon, because the governor will not grant any pardon to any person unless that person has paid all the court costs which were imposed in connection with the conviction of the crime for which the pardon is being issued. And to tell you, the board consists of 5 appointees of the governor, confirmed by the Senate, which terms run concurrent with governors, and one which shall be chosen from a victim group. Eligibility. The eligibility. An applicant for a pardon must have completed their sentence, including court costs. And that's what I just mentioned above, that you have to pay your fines that correlate with the charge you're asking for the pardon for. And here it is again. Federal offenses in the past have been considered eligible for Louisiana pardon. And holding that the phrase offense goes against the state, including federal offenses, court preferred, which recites the fact that the Louisiana governor issued 87 pardons to persons convicted of federal felonies in the 15 years preceding 1980. Let me highlight that for y'all. Let's see what more information we can find. I'm going to highlight all this because I don't know what it say. The Louisiana governors issued 87 pardons to persons convicted of federal felonies in the 15 years preceding 1980. There's this statute, the code. Prior to the Shine decision, the Board of Pardons had announced in 1996 and again in 2005 that it would no longer accept applications from federal offenders. Okay, well, for federal offenders, I'm going to always refer you guys to the video, federal offenders, and for federal offenders and DC gun rights restoration, because that is the process. DC is its own district and they abide by the federal law. So The process for federal offenders in Louisiana, you need to go check out that video for DC and federal offenders. You will have to do a presidential pardon, which is different from a governor's pardon, because here it states that they did once accept federal felonies, but they discontinued in 1996 and they re-announced it again in 2005 that they are no longer accepting applications from federal offenders. But it also does say that 87 pardons were granted to federal offenders. So it is possible to get them. You just got to do a different process. You can no longer go through y'all governor. Y'all have to go through the presidential pardon. All right, down here, process. Process. Before considering the application for pardon of any person, the board shall give written notice of the date and time at which the application will be heard and considered, at least 30 days prior to the hearing, to the district attorney, the victim, if any, and any other person who was indicted an interest, who has indicated an interest and has a legal right to present testimony. In addition, the applicant must notify the district attorney and victims of his application and place public notice in a newspaper on 3 separate days in a 30-day period. Good God Almighty. Information relating to a pardon request must be made available to the public. The district attorney, injured victim, spouse or next of kin, and any other person who desire to do so shall be given reasonable opportunity to attend the hearing. And both the district attorney and victim must be given the opportunity to respond to the application, either telephonically or in person. No more than 3 persons may speak in favor of an application, and no more than 3 against. So you can have 3 people come speak in your favor, and you can also have 3 oppositions. So choose wisely. All actions of the board require the favorable vote of at least 4 members of the board. See Rule 1C. So let's get on over to the actual application. I believe it's this one here. Which state is this? Pardon. Let me make sure this is the right state. Yep, Louisiana. Okay. Application of pardon consideration. The governor of the state of Louisiana may pardon only Louisiana convictions. The governor cannot pardon a federal crime offense or an offense from another state. If you're seeking a pardon for a conviction in another state, you should contact that state. If you're seeking a pardon on a federal conviction, you should contact the Office of Pardon Attorney, U.S. Department of Justice, New York Ave, Washington, D.C. I told you guys, if you're looking for the federal pardon, it's going to be the presidential pardon, which again is attached in the video for federal offenders and DC convictions. The Pardon Board utilizes a 2-step process for pardon review. Let's see, I'm going to skip all of this. You guys can read over this as you do, as you begin your process, but this is what I want to see, the requirements. Eligibility requirements. If you have been convicted of a violation of a Louisiana law, either a felony or a misdemeanor, you have no pending charges, outstanding detainers, or any pecuniary penalties or liabilities which total more than $1,000 and result from any criminal conviction or traffic infraction. You have paid all court costs which were imposed in connection with the conviction of the crime which the pardon is requested. You have paid all victim restitution, included but not limited to restitution pursuant to the court or civil judgment or by order of committee of parole. you are not currently in prison or jail. You must have discharged all sentences, including any type of supervision. You cannot have been considered for a pardon within the last 2 years. Type or print the answers and link. If the application is legible, it will be if the application is illegible, it will be returned and would not be processed. It is the applicant's responsibility to submit a complete application. The application will not be processed until it is complete. If the application is not complete, the applicant will be notified about missing information. Each question must be answered fully, truthfully, and accurate. So don't give one sentence answers. Please don't do that. They ask a question. If all you can think of is one sentence, you better find some words, some synonyms and antonyms to replace the words that you can think of, because you need to answer these questions fully. First name, last name, Department of Correction number. Let's see what else. Let me go back up 1 second. Okay, the requirements continue on. If the space provided for any answer is insufficient, the answer may be completed on the optional continuation page or on a separate sheet of paper. List the question number and attach the application. Additional documents that is relevant to the applicant may also be attached, including letters of support on behalf of the applicant with the application. If the applicant was in the military, include the military DD-214 with the application. Other attachments that the applicant would like to include may be attached. Applications forms must be filled out completely, signed, dated, and notarized where required. The submission of any false information is ground of immediate denial of the application. And do not include the instructions when submitting the application, pages 1 and 2. Don't give these people these instructions back. Do not staple or bind the application in any way. Applicants should keep a copy of the complete application and any added attachments. So give all copies. Here's the address to where you submit it, the timeline. The following items must be sent in with your application for it to be considered a complete. Certified judgment and sentence, they have where you can obtain that. Certified statement from the court clerk, your current credit report, proof of employment, proof of residency, certified copy of first offender pardon, if applicable. So, I'm not saying you should, but it might be ideal to, no, I would say it would be ideal to apply for the first offender pardon, but it also said that you couldn't have applied in the last 2 years. So, I don't know, I might hold off on that. But it says, if applicable, you don't necessarily have to have it. So, on to the application. That's completion. Application for pardon after completion of sentence. First, last name, driver's license, date of birth, social, general information for you. Are you a citizen? Have you applied for pardon before? Offenses for which you seek your pardon. Restitution and fines. If it was paid, was you on probation for how long? Relief requested and reason for seeking a pardon. Indicate below the specific relief requested. State in full your reason for seeking a pardon. Please keep in mind that the pardon is ordinarily a sign of forgiveness, not vindication. If you need more space, use the optional continuation page. You see, you got 3 options. And I'm going to highlight the option that my channel is based on, Felon with Firearms. So your option that you're going to pick here is full pardon with restoration of firearms. And here, explain why you want them. And if I was you, you better have a million reasons why you want them and attach that paper to it. Criminal record, You know, your background, married, divorced, single, widowed. They want to know employment information. Since your conviction, have you been fired, left a job, following allegations of misconduct or unsatisfactory job performance? Substance abuse and mental health information. Have you ever used any illegal drugs or abused prescription drugs or alcohol? Have you ever been involved in illegal manufacture, sale, or distribution of drugs other than the offense for which you're seeking a pardon? Have you ever sought or participated in counseling, treatment, or rehabilitation program for drug use or alcohol? If you have programmed while incarcerated successfully and you have the document, put yes. Put your reason. Like I didn't have a substance abuse problem, but I did I believe it was called Thinking for a Change, cognitive reasoning program. It was substance abuse, anger management, and I guess Thinking for a Change. I successfully completed it while I was incarcerated, and I attached it to my petition. And I specified, how it benefited me. I had issues with making poor decisions or my attitude, and I spoke on the things that I learned in the program. I put all of that in there on a separate sheet of paper, along with the certificate of completion. Civil and financial information, any liens, have you been part of a civil lawsuit, have you ever filed bankruptcy? It's a military record. It's a lot of things that they're going to ask you. Occupational licenses, you got your CDL, this says, have you ever been denied any type of business or professional license? Had any such license been revoked and had to be reinstatement, or had reinstatement of any such license denied? For me, I would have answered yes, my driver's license, because one of my convictions was possession with intent to distribute Schedule 1 or 2. So, and that's my occupation, my CDL. You know what I'm saying? So I spoke on that. Charitable and community activities. This is where you're going to shine. Don't be out here doing nothing, man. Be proactive. Give back when you can, if you can. And then, certificate of personal oath. Everything is truthful. Woo to woo. Authorization to release of information. And then, this is the last of it. Optional continual page. This is where you're going to, like I said, this is where you're going to shine. So, I'm tired, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and get this up here so y'all can get started on y'all process, man. Again, man, show the kids some love, man. Make sure y'all sharing this information. Join that Discord, man. Talk amongst the community, amongst each other. Y'all help each other out. Join that Discord and share information in that Discord. The link is in the home page, or is the link for the membership. You know what I'm saying? Join the Discord, share that information. Let people know that this membership is worth it, man, because this information that I'm giving y'all and I'm finding for y'all is the exact same information that the lawyer's charging y'all $5 and $6 grand for. So for a $10 membership, you get what you need. Shit, it's worth it. So until next time, Big Felon checking out.